Hello and welcome to English class. Today we are going to learn the sixth lesson from the book Vistas. The name of the lesson is On the Face of It and it is written by Suzanne Hill. Now talking about the author, Suzanne Hill is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. Her novels include The Women in Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle, for which she received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971. Now let us see the theme of the story. So the story depicts beautifully yet grimly the sad world of the physically impaired. It is not the actual pain or inconvenience caused by physical impairment that trouble a disabled man, but the attitude of the people around him. So now let us see the characters of the story. So on the face of it, story has mainly two characters. Our first character is Mr. Lamb. So one of the play's two central characters, Mr. Lamb is an old man and veteran of World War II. In the war, he lost one of his legs to a bomb and now he has a tin leg. Lamb owns a big house and garden, and though he lives alone, he keeps himself busy growing crab apples, keeping bees, reading, and making toffee and jelly. He is a wise and contemplative soul who enjoys observing, listening to, and learning from other people and the natural world. Now, our main character of this story, the second character. The other protagonist of On the Face of It, Derry, whose full name is Derek, is a boy of 14 years with a badly burned face. Of the accident that left him scared, all he says is, I got acid all down that side of my face and it burned it all away. It ate up my face up. Because of this, people treat him differently. He complains that others fear and pity him and usually actively avoid him. Now, besides these two characters, Mr. Lamb and Derry, we have another character, that is Derry's mother. So Derry's mother is given little characterization in the play, but she seems simultaneously overprotective and not understanding of her son. She contributes to his isolation by keeping him home because of his facial injury and treats him with a sense of pity that robs him of dignity and agency, essentially treating him like a perpetually helpless victim. In the play, Derry's mother forbids him from returning to Mr. Lamb's house, but Derry leaves anyway, finally asserting himself in a positive way. Now let us come to the introduction of the lesson. What is the lesson all about? So the story on the face of it is all about a teenage boy, Derry, whose full name is Derek, I have already told you, who has a burnt face, and Mr. Lamb, who is a disabled old man with an artificial leg made of tin. So Derry accidentally enters his garden so that he can hide himself from people who hate him because of his ugly face. Mr. Lamb not only welcomes him in his garden but also encourages him to lead a normal life, leaving behind his past. So this Mr. Lamb, he is encouraging him, he is giving him a positive attitude towards life. Now let us see the summary of the story. Now the story begins with a teenage boy, who was Derry, entering a garden. His face is burnt on one side due to an accident when acid fell on half of his face. He has gone there to hide himself as he is afraid of facing people. He fears being teased by others for having such a face. But when he enters the garden, he finds someone already present there. Who was he? He was Mr. Lamb. So he tries to leave the place, but he is stopped by the old man, Mr. Lamb, the owner of the garden. Derry feels guilty for entering the garden without permission. Mr. Lamb welcomes him and tells him not to leave just because of his presence. Derry wants to leave as he thinks people don't like his face and moreover they get afraid of his looks. but Mr. Lamb insists him to stay there. They enter into a conversation that how Derry is not liked by anyone and how he hates people behaving like this with him. Mr. Lamb tries to console him. He tells him that he has a tin leg and kids make fun of him. Still, he is not depressed and enjoys his life. They both talk about various things, and this leads to revelation of Derry's fear, depression, and hatred about his being in such condition. But Mr. Lamb keeps on telling him to think of the positive things. Soon they become friends, and Mr. Lamb asks him to help him in plucking the crab apples of his garden. Derry tells him that he had come too far from his home and had not told anything about this to his mother. Mr. Lamb tells him to take permission from his mother. Now, Derry finds it difficult, and this leads to a small quarrel between both of them. At last, Derry tells him that he would come back after taking his mother's permission. His mother, whose mother? Derry's mother. So Derry's mother does not want him to go back, but he comes back again to fulfill his promise given to Mr. Lamb to come back to his garden. Meanwhile, Mr. Lamb climbs the ladder on his own to pluck the crab apples, as he was sure that Derry would not return. He was disabled and it was difficult for him to climb. Mr. Lamb falls from his ladder and dies. Derry, on the other hand, returns to the garden to help him. When he enters the garden, he sees Mr. Lamb lying on the ground. Derry tries hard to make him move but did not get any response from him. Finally, he comes to know that he is dead and starts crying. So this was the end of the lesson, the end of the chapter. Okay, I hope it was clear to you all. So this was all about the video, all about the chapter On the Face of It by Suzanne Hill. Until the next video, keep learning and keep recalling. Thank you.